This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
I'd like to punch him in the face. Now, I just wanted to really say that I love you. I respect you. There's nobody I respect more. You're going to do a fantastic job.
Thanks, Tony. You're the best. You're the best worst human in the world currently. Some messages from last night. This says, it's an anonymous text, says, I'm lying in bed listening to the show and I was laughing so loud I woke my husband up. He asked me what I was laughing at and I told him that Nick Abbott just said erection on live radio. He asked me how old I am and went back to sleep. I'm still giggling to myself. Stop giggling. Rob says, Trump may not believe in climate change, but State Farm and the rest of them sure as hell do. Yes, that's an insurance company, State Farm. And yes, they do believe in climate change, insurance companies. You can not believe in climate change all you like, but climate change is going to get you anyway, one way or the other. Your insurance is about to go through the roof because insurance companies sure as hell believe in climate change. Kath texts, why did you laugh about Jeremy Corbyn's cat, El Greco's death? I didn't, Kath. I laughed because the newspapers called Jeremy Corbyn's cat a socialist. That's what made me laugh. Jeremy Corbyn's socialist cat has died. That's how it was reported. I wasn't laughing at the dead cat. I was laughing at what kind of a moron would call a cat a socialist, for crying out loud. Cats aren't socialists. Cats are fascists.
Correct.
That is actually true. Dom he doesn't sext. Well, he might do, but he doesn't do it to this show. Hey, Dom, put it away. Nobody wants to see that.
Disgusting.
Dom texts, in South Carolina, they have motioned a bill to execute women who seek out an abortion. Not even carry it out, but seek it out. Crazy, crazy times, says Dom. Yeah, the Republicans, they only care about life until it's born. After that, they're not remotely interested. This is from The Guardian, the 23rd of January. So far in 2025, lawmakers in at least 6 states have introduced bills to strengthen fetal personhood, while Trump has tucked fetal personhood language into one of his executive orders. The homicide bills have been introduced in Indiana, North Dakota, Oklahoma and South Carolina, all of which have a state tune that goes as follows. The Oklahoma bill not only explicitly strips away protections that keep abortion patients from being prosecuted, but also separately prohibits anything that may direct, advise, encourage or solicit an abortion. That language could have implications for free speech rights. It may also be used to attack abortion funds and supporters sharing information with people in need. Oh, my God, how great it is not to be an American. Isn't it? I mean, for at least the next 4 years, probably 8 and even longer than that, it's just going to be tremendous not being an American. And for that, I am truly grateful.
Thank you.
Steve texts, in the USA, you have to be 35 before you can run for president. How old is Barron Trump, by the way? Because he is going to be the one that the Oompa Loompa is going to want to pass the crown on to. How old is Barron? Well, at the moment you have to be 35, but so what? Any rule is just going to be changed to suit the screaming Mimi. You know that. He's broken no end of rules already. All those people he just fired, he fired them illegally. And those people that he just fired, it was the... let me see now. One moment, please. I've got detailed files. I've got so many pieces of paper. I can't find anything. Hang on a minute. One moment, please. No. The White House fired the independent inspectors general of at least 12 major federal agencies in a purge that could clear the way for President Donald Trump to instill loyalists in the crucial role of identifying fraud, waste and abuse in the government. Just concentrate on the first one. Fraud. The Inspectors General were notified by emails from the White House Personnel Director that they had been terminated immediately.
Correct.
To death. The dismissals appeared to violate federal law, which requires Congress to receive 30 days notice of any intent to fire a Senate-confirmed Inspector General. But he don't care about the law. The law don't apply to him. Oversight of some of the government's largest agencies was affected: the Department of Defense, Transportation, Veterans Affairs, Housing, Urban Development, Interior, Energy, Commerce, Agriculture, Environmental Protection Agency, Small Business Administration, and Social Security Administration. An Inspector General is an independent position that conducts audits and investigations into allegations of waste, fraud, and abuse of power. A purge of independent watchdogs in the middle of the night, people who would investigate fraud and abuse in the government. Can anybody think of why a convicted fraudster would do that? Anybody at all? Any thoughts? Nothing? 0345 6060 973. Derby. Hello, Simon.
Evening, Nick. I've got another Trump for you.
Oh, my God. It's going to be like this for the next 4 years, probably 8 years we've got this.
It's getting hard to keep up with it, isn't it? The amount of madness that's coming out.
That's the idea.
Tidal wave.
Yeah, that is the idea. He wants to subsume you in a tsunami of you-know-what.
Just before that, one thing. I know you mentioned heated blankets a lot.
Yes.
I've recently I bought it for a friend of mine, and I tried them, and they were so good that I had to buy myself some. Heated slippers.
Heated slippers?
You put them in the microwave for a minute, and it's like a little sack of sort of wheat or something in it.
Right.
And they're brilliant. If you get cold feet, they are fantastic for warming your feet up.
Yeah, no. What else have we got?
The Trump thing is, I love the ridiculousness of him, and this one is great. He has managed to change the gender of the entire country with one of his, earlier this week, one of his proclamations. You remember when he said that from now on, everybody in the United States is male or female?
Yes.
And then it's the bit after that he said that has really changed things a little bit. Because then he said, everyone's male or female from conception.
Right, which is
now
probably
from conception,
factual-wise, yes,
is female until 6 weeks.
Right.
So everybody, in effect, is female in the whole country.
Well, someone is going to take it hard. Hey, Melania, your husband's a female.
I don't care.
She's actually not that bothered.
The thing is, I can see how he's done it, though, you know. You know, this Project 2025 and all the people behind him. Donald's too stupid to make that mistake or not make that mistake. I don't think he's generated any of this. That has come from the religious people backing him who don't believe in Darwinism or anything like that. And they don't care whether they've made mistakes.
It has nothing to do with Darwinism, and that is exactly the kind of thing that Donald Trump would do, because did you see him today blathering on about water in California? Telling people whose job it is to regulate the water in California, how to do it, and telling firefighters how to sweep forests. He's still going on about that. I mean, he's picked up exactly where he left off last time around. It was as though the Biden administration never actually happened. This is going to be painful, and already I'm being overwhelmed. But that is exactly the plan, Simon. Don't let them do it to you. Here's some good advice. Just take 20 minutes of your day and look at social media, but only 20 minutes. Set an alarm on your phone to go after 20 minutes, and then you have to turn it off and do something else. And if you can't, then you've got a problem, and you should get help or assistance of some sort. If you can't turn it off when the alarm goes off, then that fear of missing out thing that is sending alarm bells ringing in your brain, that needs dealt with. Now, it might take a bit of weaning to get yourself off it, because I know that anybody under the age of 50 is absolutely addicted to their phone. God, it was infuriating. Just the other day, I was in the gym, and they've got these benches. There's about 10 benches, with free weights. And every now and again, I creep gingerly into that area and and lift a weight as light as a feather, and then creep gingerly out again. But every single bench was occupied by a person. Every single one of those people was staring at their phones, all of them. I couldn't believe it. If I'd had because I don't take my phone into the gym because I'm not going in there to look at my blooming phone. I'm the only person that doesn't go to the gym to stare at their phone. And I'm standing there waiting for somebody to do anything, to move a muscle that is not connected to their thumb. And absolutely no movement of any kind whatsoever. And I'm standing, and I'm standing, and I'm standing. And the guy in front of me is actually watching a video, a TV program, on his phone, sitting on one of the benches, next to somebody who's doing the exact same thing. And I said to him, have you got much to do? And he said, oh, yeah. And he goes back to staring at his blooming phone again. Well, I mean, the things you see when you left your gun at home. This is why people get shot a lot in America. I mean, apart from, just the ease of buying weaponry. People don't seem to have any idea how to behave anymore outside. And so he goes back to looking at his TV program. I can't get my head around the attitude of people like this. I mean, I would never do that. If I was occupying a bench or a seat or anything that somebody else wanted to use and I wasn't actually using it for its intended purpose, I'd bounce up out of it and offer it to them. But not these people, not today. Oh, yeah, I am. And he goes back to staring at his phone. I said, well, while you're watching your important video, do you mind if I, work in? Oh, yeah, all right. Oh. But you know me, I never complain.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Get off social media, because for the next 4 years at least, probably 8, and maybe longer than that, when Donald Trump is the dear leader, it's going to be an absolute tsunami all the time, and you're just going to become overwhelmed by it. 20 minutes, tops, that's what I'm giving myself. Okay, maybe 30, because, it's important for me to do it for my business, but it's probably not important for you to do it for your business. Just get off the phone and go outside and enjoy some nature while it's still there.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
What's he got to be depressed about?
The state of the human race. Let's start with that, shall we? 0345 6060 973. Messages from last night. Matt emails, Baron Trump, more like Baron von Trumpenstein. I bet his mum pulls the bolts... puts the bolts back in his neck when she tucks him up at night, says Matt. Yeah, I blame the parents. Ben says, Ravi Burns was born in Ayr, the pun capital of the world. He says, we've got a load of pun businesses. The Air Guitar, Air India. So presumably there's a music shop called the Air, A-Y-R, Air Guitar, and there's a takeaway called Air India. A barber's called Hair Today Gone Tomorrow. And Refresh Air. I don't know what they do for a living. It's the ultimate renaming and the ultimate wood... It's written terribly. The ultimate wood renaming Prestwick Airport as Prestwick Airport. OK, some of that made sense. Well done, Ben. 0345 6060 973. Hales Owen. Joanne.
Hello, Nick.
Yes, Joanne.
Oh, I'm going to get you off speaker.
Take me off speaker.
Oh, that's it. That's better. Oh. I am the Joanne of whom Randy from Albury speaks.
OK.
So I went to see him in his chip shop this week. Mm-hmm. Because I'm such a big fan of both him and you.
Of chips, yes.
And fish.
Well, of course, yeah. But you wouldn't just go in for fish, would you? But you would just go in for chips.
Yeah, but because he's a disciple of yours, I just had to go and see him.
A disciple.
And I had to explain to him that I did only ever phone you once.
Right.
When I mispronounced my H's.
Uh-oh.
And I've realised that I only did it for HMRC, but when I pronounce H, I'm fine.
You're fine?
Yeah, with H.
Oh.
But not HMRC.
You've lost me. You're saying HMRC, and you've done it very well. That is excellent work. Congratulations. But then you lapse into... I can't even bring myself to say it.
No.
The thing that... The H that begins with an H.
No.
Yeah.
Don't do it. But I am the tofu eating, Guardian reading wokerati, of whom
right.
Suella Braverman speaks.
Boo! Yes.
I've got a rescue cat. I do yoga. I have an allotment. I am a Labour member. I'm everything.
Wow.
That
you are the full
Suella
package,
Braverman
Joanne.
dislikes.
Yeah, right. So you are everything that I like by contrast.
Yes.
What's yoga like? I tried it once. It was one of the most painful experiences of my life, and I've had eye surgery.
I really enjoy it. I do it most days.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
What do you do? Is it just sitting cross-legged and staring out the window, or do you actually throw poses?
Oh, well, there's meditation, there's breathing exercises.
Can you actually meditate, though? Or is it just sitting there not talking? I mean, isn't your brain just going while you're trying to shut it down?
Most of the time you think about what you're having for tea.
Well, that's not meditating, Joanne. That's menus, not meditating.
But nobody's perfect, are they?
Well, I suppose that's true. Yeah, you are. You certainly are. No question about that, Joanne.
But it's so lovely to speak to you. I'm such a big fan. I listen to you Fridays and Saturdays, and even your abnormal show on Sundays.
Okay, well, that's the full compliment. Excellent work. Thanks a lot, Joanne. And remember, thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. Chris says, here in sunny Thailand, the phone service and internet is 5G and is exceptionally good. Yes, thanks, Chris, but we don't wish to know that. On that subject, Nick says, regarding the landline, we were talking about landlines last night. It was very, very interesting.
Boring.
He says, although dependent upon a router, Shall I start that again?
No.
Regarding the landline, he says, although dependent upon a router which requires... Well, you try that. Router which requires. You try that.
Router which...
See? Although dependent upon a router which requires separate power, it is not reliant on Wi-Fi. For customers who do not subscribe to broadband, BT offers a separate module. Whether this too requires power separate from the BT circuit, I do not know, says Nick. Well, certainly I'm glad that you texted in then, Nick. Paul says, isn't it odd that the man suddenly evoking God criticised the bishop just for asking him to be nice? Yes. Yeah. I don't know how those religious phonies in America actually make all this make sense to themselves. I really don't. I just think they're just so full to the brim of hatred that they don't even bother to think about it. Just whatever Orange Jesus said. Yeah, never mind about Jesus. He was a liberal, woke, sandal-wearing lefty. If Jesus... I'll say it again. If Jesus did come back to walk among us, Donald Trump would throw him in jail. 034 for being mean and nasty. 0345 6060 973. Clitheroe, Steve.
Hello, Nick. You okay?
Yes, Steve.
I've just been practicing this. Router which requires. Dead easy.
Router which requires, yes.
It's easy. How can you not say that? You're a professional broadcaster.
I am a professional broadcaster, and you should not have tried that at home.
Yeah, I have had about 30 seconds to rehearse it. So, anyway, Nick, I've just realised I've got you speaker. I better take you off. There you go. Nick, last time I spoke to you, I was telling you about the Get Well Soon Nick song, and I think that you actually did listen to it that night.
Oh, yes,
so,
I did, yeah.
I'm just waiting for one of those thank yous off your wall, if that's okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Nick, I've got a couple of 3 things to talk to you about tonight.
Well, I am on the edge of my seat.
First off, today at 12:30, were you listening to Ali Miraj on LBC?
Oh, yes. Was I? Is that a question? Or are you
it's a question, yeah.
No, I was not, no.
All right, okay. Well, you missed your mate. Your mate was on Jonathan from Harrow.
Oh, Harrow.
And the internet exploded. Everyone's like, he's on Ali. Yeah.
Right, so he is risen from the dead.
He's got a fan base, Nick.
Right.
You would not believe.
Well, okay.
I think he should be welcomed back onto the Nick Abbot show.
Oh, I don't know. It sounds like competition to me.
So that's something for homework for you to have a listen to that. It was at 12:30 today.
Okay.
The other thing is, the reason I was ringing you is just about, I wanted to know your thoughts on social media. I know you use social media, and the amount of people who are just like misbehaving on there at the moment. I don't know if it's since Labour got into government and it's a kind of right-wing thing and it's just bitterness and anger, but there's so much stuff that's just angry and nasty and unpleasant.
I recommend...
Are you seeing that?
Yeah, of course. I recommend that you hover your mouse over the names of the people. I assume that you're talking about Twitter.
Facebook.
Oh, I don't do Facebook.
I don't have Twitter.
Oh, right. Well, I don't really do Facebook. But so I don't know whether it's the same. But if you hover your mouse over their name, does it tell you how many people are following them?
No, not on Facebook, no. It says how many friends you've got and stuff like that.
Right, well, that's kind of the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, well, if it's anything like Twitter, all of those people making all of those comments, they have 4 followers and an official blue tick for which they pay. In other words, they're not real people, they're bots, they're robots.
But, Nick, what this leads on to is there's a page on Facebook which has been there for years, and it's been a really, really good group, and it's about your show, and it's a really, really pleasant group, and we all go on there and discuss things and
talk about happiness.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
100%. Yeah, a really positive place. And then, for some reason, Facebook have brought this new thing out now, which it's got to be mischievous, but basically, you can post anonymously. So your name won't show. Right. It won't show any details about you, not even anything. Yes. It just says anonymous participant.
Right.
And these people have been misbehaving on that group.
Misbehaving.
Seriously,
well, they must be punished.
So basically, what's happened is this group's been there for ages, and the admins, for some reason, they seem to have left Facebook or something, so it's not being managed, so nobody's there to put these, to delete these people who are making these horrible posts.
To pull the weeds out, yeah.
That's it, yeah, so it's completely unmanaged. So this morning I set a new one up, and the name of it, I forgot the name of it, it's called Nick Abbot Radio Fans. Right. So everybody's welcome to join that. So I put a post on that group this morning just to say, look, there's a new group here, and then if we've got an admin on it, we can manage it correctly.
It'll be infected before you know it. It's probably dead from some sort of infectious disease right now. Get off social media. I mean it.
But it's a very pleasant place because it's just people who listen to the show and enjoy the show and discuss, different things. But obviously today it exploded.
Do I have the nerve to actually get on the phone and talk to me in person rather than just waggling your thumb at me and sending me a text?
Yeah, well, that's it. Somebody did say today, actually, that Kath, who texts you, somebody was saying that you read that out every single week, and this lady, she sends you a text every week, and you've never read one yet. So if she changed her name to Cat, will that work?
That will probably work, yeah. I recommend she does that, yeah. But by deed poll, it has to be official. All right, well, I wish you all the best, and thanks very much for, all that excellent work there, Steve. But seriously, turn the computer off and walk outside. It was actually quite pleasant today, and I wager that it's going to be pleasant tomorrow as well. I can check on that while you wait. Oh, no. No, okay, cancel everything that I just said. It's going to be absolutely awful tomorrow. I mean, in London, it's going to be windy. From about 11 in the morning, the winds go up to 42 mile an hour again. Blimey, that's come back. Is that the tail of the thing that we just went through? Just sort of coming around and smashing us again? We've got to go through that again, and it's going to be raining and raining and raining. So I would spend all tomorrow on social media if I were you. I think that's probably good advice.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
They're eating the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country.
Darryl says, apparently God saved Donny's life in order to make America great again. Curious, though, that God did not see fit to save the firefighter sat nearby who himself had dedicated his life to saving others. I think God has a few questions to answer, says Darryl. Yeah. I mean, that's the nature of the man. He's so despicable that he would say that God saved him without even thinking that somebody behind him actually got shot to death. That's the measure of the man. He has no redeeming features whatsoever. Apart from he's got a lot of money. Your husband has no redeeming features apart from the money, Melania.
I don't care.
She is actually not that bothered. Now she's got that hat, he can't get anywhere near her. 0345 6060 973. Somerset. Hello, Sarah.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Sarah.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. The reason I'm calling is because earlier I heard you say the sights you see when you haven't brought your gun, or words to that effect.
Yes.
Now, I remember my grandmother, to me and in general, when I was a child in the 50s and 60s. And I've used that expression a few times, and people have looked at me a bit odd, as though, they've never heard it. I was thinking that maybe it was a northern expression, because my grandmother was from Yorkshire. But no, I've never heard anybody say it until now, and I heard you, and I thought, oh, I must ring in.
Wow, we must be cosmic twins or something, Sarah.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah, but is it something you've always known, that expression, or is it something recent? I
can't remember where I heard it. I think that's fairly common, isn't it? I mean, there was that that chap that was in the Bonzo Dog Doodah band. He used to do a little sort of piece that was on radio and then on TV, I think. And he was the like some harumphing old aristo who used to shoot things out the window from his dining table. So I'm not sure that has anything to do with it, but that's just what comes to mind. But that's probably not what you have in mind.
No, it's just an expression. My gran used to say, if somebody dressed strangely or something, she'd say, somebody dressed strangely. Well, that's a bit much. Did your nan actually have a gun? No, because that's important. No. That's an important detail. Yeah. Sorry?
That is an important detail. If they do have a gun, then it's not funny. If they don't, then it maybe is. Yeah.
Oh, yes. I mean, if you lived in America, then it wouldn't be very strange to say that, I suppose.
No, that's right. Yeah. And if you didn't have a gun in America, then you could just nip down to the supermarket and pick one up. That's true. It's a terrible line here, Sarah. I think you need to get yourself a new phone.
Oh dear.
Or get a landline or something. Because it sounds as though you're calling us from one of Elon Musk's rockets. One of the ones that doesn't actually arrive at its destination, apart from in a million pieces. Sarah, I've got to go, but thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. John says, do you remember the famous Father Ted Nazi salute sketch? Was brilliantly funny and yet misconstrued. Priceless. No, I never saw Father Ted. Yeah, there's so many classic British comedies that I've never actually seen, like Only Fools and Horses, for instance. I mean, I've seen the bit where he falls through the bar. That's funny. And I've seen the bit with the chandeliers. That's funny. But those are the only two bits I've ever seen from that show. I've never seen Father Ted. I haven't seen Blackadder. You name it, I haven't seen it, if it's British. If it's a British comedy, probably haven't seen it. I don't know, I like to laugh when I see a comedy, and I've tried British comedies, and most of them just don't make me laugh. They will make you go, yes, that's funny, or, ooh, did he really say that? Or, that's a bit depressing, because there's always there's always a sort of cloud of depression over British comedies. Like laughing through the pain sort of thing. I like to be amused when I'm watching something that's supposed to be funny. I suppose you think that makes me a fascist. Martin with 2 R's. Martin texts, hey Nick, guess what borders on insanity? Canada and Mexico. Canada and Mexico. Ordinarily, I don't like listeners with material, but in that case, I'm going to make an exception. Plymouth. Hello, Julie.
Hello, Nick. Hope you're well.
Yes, good, thanks.
Good. I can't believe I'm phoning up to do this, but I have to defend young Baron Trump.
Okay.
And I was ever so pleased when I spoke to your glamorous assistant, because he's seen exactly what I've seen on the inauguration day and the swearing-in bit, where they all sort of huddle, the family. Obviously, Melania with the hat had a bit more space. And she's like... Oh, bless her. And then Baron, he was sort of, maybe because of his mum's hat, he was more off towards the ex-presidents. And after it all finished, before he turned on his heels, he shook hands with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And I thought that showed some depth to that young man. Whether it's because he's at college age and he's mixing with some normal people, who knows?
Well, did you see the bit where he whispered something in Joe Biden's ear and the smile dropped off Joe Biden's face and he put one of those, what did he just say? Looks on his face. You didn't see that?
Was that when he was shaking his hand?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
He leant over and said something to Joe Biden which wiped the smile off Joe Biden's face. Yeah.
Oh, so I'm wrong. It was all a ploy.
I've heard so many people say that. Oh, what a well-brought-up young man. He shook that bloke's hand. Well, what else are you going to do? I mean, for crying out loud, it was just shaking his hand.
I know, but he did it where the rest of them didn't have the it in them to do that, to show some respect. And, but again, maybe he did it with have you seen something going toward, maybe he did it...
well, the internet was alight with... the internet was alight with questions about what it was that he said that affected Joe Biden so viscerally. So I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, well...
I mean, if he has grown up to be a decent human being, then that is against the odds, isn't it? In that family.
Totally. He probably is his mother's boy, but,
I'm not sure about his mother, really.
I think he spent a lot of time on the first time round with his mum. But again, I could be totally wrong, but I didn't see that happening with Joe Biden. He probably said, we've thrown out your picture in the hallway or something, your portrait.
Right, something like that.
Yeah. But
what people were saying was that he said you should have pardoned yourself, as in, we're coming for you, Grandad.
Oh.
But I don't know whether that's true. That's just what somebody said on the internet. And that if it's on the internet, Julie, as you know, that does actually make make it a fact. Yeah.
I am so sorry for thinking for myself, and I apologise everybody out there, and I will try to do better, Nick.
That's good work. All right, thanks a lot, Judy. She's learned her lesson. Never try thinking for yourself. Martin says, hey, Nick, guess what borders on insanity? I might read that every hour. Canada and Mexico.
Correct.
Yeah. Edward says, quoting a line from the Church Times, page 14, some wit has called the new oligarchy in Washington the Nerd Reich. I never knew it was an organ of such amusement, the Church Times. Get me a copy of... get me a subscription to the Church Times. Tricia says, I've never used or seen any social media and I don't want to. Am I missing anything good? Yeah, let me think about that.
No.
No, you are not missing anything good. You're missing a lot that's bad, and you're missing a lot that's time-wasting. And you're missing a lot of negativity. It's almost all negative. And then you go on to... you go from the Nerd Reich's site... and you go onto Blue Sky, and Blue Sky is all... And I'd have to say, there's not much on there that really grabs the attention. I've spent almost no time on it at all. I joined it a little while ago, but Blue Sky is what people are supposed to be exiting X for. And I haven't really spent any time on there at all, because it's just people being nice. And I realise what I'm doing, and I'm getting sucked into, the whole social media whirl. And the recognition that what you respond to is nasty. What you respond to is aggression. It's conflict. That's the key. And that's why Elon Musk will probably let people keep on disagreeing with him, because it's the conflict that keeps bringing them back. It's the juice that starts squirting around your brain when you are in conflict, whether it's you've got your fists up and you're fighting, or whether you're just arguing verbally, using your mouth or your thumb. Doesn't really matter. You're in a fight, and that's what attracts people, because, we're a fight or flight species. So you're going to have to force yourself to just cut back on it. Because you ain't going to miss anything at all. I mean, be honest, at the beginning of the day, it's exactly the same as at the end of the day. The trending topics will be Donald Trump, Nigel for bloomin' Raj, and Labour out, or Starmer resign, or something like that. It's the same at the beginning of the day as it is at the end of the day. And what's in between is just a lot of fury, a lot of steam and fury signifying nothing. So just get off it. Do yourself a favour. Give your brain a rest. I mean, you don't have to do yoga, because that is, that is obviously extremely painful and very, very dangerous. But just look out the window would be better for your health, mental and otherwise. Go walk in nature. It's beautiful.
Leading Britain's conversation, Nick Abbot. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
This is absolute tosh.
Andy says, you were in the gym? Yes, for a brief period. As brief as possible. You get in there, you do your thing, and you get out, as opposed to people who seem to go in there and they just spend the rest of the day in there. Everybody is already in there when I arrive, and they're still there when I leave, like about 50 minutes later. And they could be in and out just like I am if they just put their bloomin' phones in the lockers. Andrew says, people who use their phones on gym equipment should be thrashed with nettles. I agree. South Norwood, hello, Philip.
Oh, good evening, Nick.
Yes, Philip.
With regarding Trump and Greenland, I just wonder if he does go for it. I've heard that he's going to offer everybody who lives in Greenland $1 million.
Yeah, that's what he's going to do.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I mean, I've never been to Greenland, but I've seen quite a few, videos of it, travel videos, and the capital, I gather, is called Nuuk.
Is it?
N-U-U-K.
Yeah. Well, that may be their name and their future.
Yeah, I understand, because not far away, Nick, is another Denmark-controlled island. You've got the Faroe Islands, which is in between. You've got Iceland, and then you've got this little island, which is the Faroe Islands.
Hmm.
So I just wonder, once he starts, where will he stop?
Well, he won't stop unless somebody stops him.
Yeah. Do you think is it practical? Could it happen, do you think, Nick?
It's impossible to tell. And that is why we should be distancing ourselves from that man and that country as far as possible. We do not want to have a relationship with that man. We just we should be rushing into the arms of Europe and away from America, because you cannot rely on him.
I mean, what about the people on the island? I mean, surely, I'm sure, I hope I wasn't joking about the $1 million each, but, I mean, surely they will get something, won't they, out of it?
Well, what we know is that money never trickles down. So he may give the country some money, but it won't trickle down to the people. That you can be absolutely sure of. And if you give everybody in a country $1 million, then a loaf of bread will suddenly cost £1,000.
Because they've got a new airport, Nick. That I do know, because I must admit, I had a look at the webcam, and they're having a new airport built. They've now got, stronger planes coming in, so they further distance. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that's the start.
Right. Okay. Well, probably not. I don't think Donald Trump has started yet.
The other thing, Nick, was going back to Trump again, releasing these papers on the Kennedy assassination. The reason why I find it interesting is I remember the night that Kennedy was assassinated, because it was where I wasn't there. I was in London, Nick, in the Aldridge.
You were in a book depository, yes,
go on. I was
on.
in the TV studios, Nick, watching the Rolling Stones live.
Was it the...
Ready, Steady, Go?
Right, Ready, Steady, Go, okay.
Ready, Steady, Go. And my sister, I'd been to see the show a couple of weeks previously, and she'd asked, could I take, because she was younger than me. She is younger than me. And so anyway, we went and we came out, and it wasn't until we got home, and we walked in the front door, and Mother said to me, "Have you heard the news?" I said, "No, what's happened?" And of course, then we were told that, that Kennedy. Did you know, Nick, that there was only one TV channel, to my knowledge, got the story, because Ready Steady Go was shown in London, and up in Granada land in the north, Granada had their own local show. I think they still do, Granada Reports. And they were the only ones, local show on the air, and they scooped the story. They got the story before the main news, you see, and put it out to the people in Manchester.
Right. And so the people that were in charge of television thought that the Rolling Stones were more important.
It does appear like that. There is just one final thing, talking about assassinations. Many years ago, I went to Los Angeles, and I went to a theme park in Los Angeles called Knott's Berry Farm. And they had a theatre in the round in the park. And every 2 hours, they put a play on, you see, half an hour play. And the one they had on the day I was there was Our American Cousin, which is the play that Abraham Lincoln was watching when he was assassinated, you see. Right. So I went to see it.
And they had, please don't tell me they have an animatronic Abe Lincoln.
Well, nearly, Nick, almost nearly. When it got to the point in the play where Kennedy was assassinated, a shot rang out, and they had a silhouette of him in the box.
Wow.
The play stopped for about a minute, I should think, and then after a minute, the play carried on. The play had been condensed. I think it was a half an hour, play. So anyway, I really enjoyed the play. I thought it was very, very good. So I went to see it again 2 hours later, and the manager came over to me. He said, you came in earlier on. He said, you've seen it once. I said, yes. I said, but I thought it was very, very good. So I saw Abraham Lincoln assassinated twice in one afternoon.
Right. For fun for all the kids. And Knott's Berry Farm is one of those amusement parks, in case you're wondering. Wow. Only in America, eh? Thanks a lot, Philip. 0345 6060 973. On that subject, this says, is it okay to say Greenland is now safe? I don't remember Trump mentioning anything about them. No, it isn't. Donald Trump insisted he was serious in his determination to take over Greenland in a fiery telephone call with Denmark's Prime Minister, according to senior European officials, so says the Financial Times. The US President spoke to, and here I don't really know how to pronounce her name, I'm going to go with Mette Frederiksen. That's probably it. Mette Frederiksen, the Danish premier. Trump spoke to her for 45 minutes. Frederiksen said she emphasised that the vast Arctic island and autonomous part of the Kingdom of Denmark was not for sale. 5 current and former senior European officials briefed on the call said the conversation had gone very badly. They said that Trump had been aggressive and confrontational following the Danish Prime Minister's comments that the island was not for sale, despite her offer of more cooperation in military bases and mineral exploitation. Said one of the people, it was horrendous. Another said, he was very firm, it was a cold shower. Before, it was hard to take seriously. But I do think it is serious and potentially very dangerous. The details of the call are likely to deepen European concerns that Trump's return to power will strain transatlantic ties more than ever as the US president heaps pressure on allies to give up territory. Trump started his second term musing about potentially taking over Greenland, the Panama Canal and Canada. He's like a fat little baby that starts screaming the moment you stop feeding him. Many European officials hoped that his comments about seeking control of Greenland were a negotiating ploy to gain more influence over the NATO territory, or, a joke. But the call with the Danish premier has crushed any such hopes. Said one person briefed on the call, the intent was very clear. They want it. The Danes are now in crisis mode. God, we've got another Vladimir Putin on our hands. He said the Danes are utterly freaked out by this. A former Danish official said it was a very tough conversation. He threatened specific measures against Denmark, such as targeted tariffs. Greenland is home to 57,000 people, is an entry point to new shipping routes gradually opening up through the Arctic as the ice melts because of climate change. And it also boasts abundant but hard-to-access minerals. And Trump threatened in early January to impose duties on Denmark if it opposed him on Greenland. He also declined to rule out using military force to take control of the island. Good grief. So in a war between the greedy, dumpy, orange Oompa Loompa and the 6-foot-tall blonde people of the North, who are you going to side with? Who do you want to get into bed with? Think about it. Pick a side. 0345 6060 973. Bermondsey. Ruthus. A Ruthus.
Yes, Nick.
There you are. Go ahead.
There was a caller that called regarding talking about Trump's last child.
Yeah.
Barron Trump, and she was apologizing after your view of what people thought he said to Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I think she should not be apologizing because we all should have an opinion, or should be able to have our own opinion as individual, and then not be able to start apologizing because your view almost made her change her mind. Because I don't understand. That's for me. I don't think that should be something that should be happening. Like, for every one of us should be able to have the views. So for me, I really admire Trump's family.
You admire Trump's family.
Yes, because if you look at what he went through from the assassination and also being chased around.
What he went through in the assassination? Are you joking?
Yeah, I think
he had, at the very most, he had his ear nicked, which was such a small nick that it had vanished the next day.
But is for you? You're saying that it's vanished the next day, but is you think? Are you trying to say it was something that was staged or something that was fake?
Well, that's a different issue entirely. You're saying that he went through some kind of tragedy in your mind at the somebody attempted to kill him.
Yes.
I'm saying at the very most, he had his ear nicked ever so slightly, such that now you can't tell that there was ever a cut there, if indeed there was. But like I said, that's a separate issue. And he was so discomfited that his first order of business was to get his security to pick up his shoes. No, not even his shoes. The lifts that he uses in his shoes to make him look taller.
Nick, this on your part, that's for you. That's your view. That's what I would say.
I know it is.
But from my view, if you're in a position where you'll be shot at,
Yeah.
Or
well, that's half the kids in American schools.
So that's making human, because if you sometimes things happen, you might not know the first word that you're going to utter out your mouth. You might so that you might even forget.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It looked pretty staged to me. Fight. Yeah.
Yeah. In that case, what do you expect to say? Oh, everybody go home, run for a cover, or what should you say?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you're basing your approval and your appreciation of his entire family, in your words, because somebody shot at him.
I do appreciate it, because I should appreciate it, because, again, Baron Trump shaking Biden's hand.
Well, Baron Trump wasn't there. Okay, so you like him because he got shot at. Okay. Well, that's a pretty big group, though, in America. People that have been shot at.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
My dog's been taken.
A big sack of monkey nuts.
Yes, we appear to be being run by a big sack of monkey nuts. I'm going to read this one again. Martin says, "Hey, Nick, guess what borders on insanity? Canada and Mexico." Harry says, "I watch cartoons on my iPad in the gym. I'm an S&C coach." What's that? Brackets PT. What's S&C? Sadism and something. What's S&C?
I last went to a gym in 1998.
How was it?
Retro.
Retro?
Well, not then. Sorry, it's listed in material from the glamorous assistant. I shouldn't bother.
No. He's saying things and then rating his performance. I watch cartoons on my iPad in the gym, says Harry. I'm an S&C coach. I don't know what that is. Should you like to be my training partner, says Harry. Well, let me think about that, Harry.
No.
No, regardless of what S or C stands for. Jenny says, "It's much more everyone under 80 is addicted to the social media. You should check everyone under 80. You should check how many 60 plus, 70 plus and even 80 plus groups are on Facebook." No, I shouldn't. Get off Facebook. Get off all of them. I mean, do you remember what life used to be like before social media? Better. I mean, you ain't missing nothing. I mean, did you go through the 70s and the 80s and the 90s thinking, oh, gosh, I wonder what some anonymous person that I'll never meet for the rest of my life thinks about politics? No, nobody ever did. And suddenly it's become the focus of our lives. The whole world's gone insane. Give yourself 20 minutes. Now, I know that everybody has become addicted to it because that is how they make it. It's deliberate. They do that. Everything about social media has been deliberately designed to make you addicted to it. I mean, there's no question about it. If you, I keep bringing it up, but it's just so annoying. If you go to a gym, you'll see that most people in there spend most of the time they're in there gawping at their phones. That did not used to be the case. And I think that the people who are running these sites, they should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. They should be in prison. Because they seem to have got an entire generation, specifically young people, under their spell, which does not bode well for the rest of their lives at all. Because at least old people could recollect a time when they weren't on that thing all day. And they have experienced doing other things, walking in nature and reading a book and watching TV and, just staring out the window, that kind of thing. And they were not thinking when they were doing it that, oh no, I wonder what people are saying about Brexit. None of that. Just get off it. Give yourself 20 minutes in the morning or in the evening, whenever it is, and set the 20 minutes on your phone, and as soon as the bell goes, turn it off. You won't miss anything, and you'll get your life back. Chris says, buttered toast with marmalade or Bovril? Decisions, he says. Well, it depends, Chris. I mean, I can't choose... Well, not marmalade. I prefer Vegemite. That's just my preference. But it's the same thing, pretty much. But sometimes you're in the mood for marmalade, and sometimes you're in the mood for veggie or Bovril. You can't make a blanket decision like that, Chris. You have to take heed of your mood. Sometimes you want sweet, sometimes you want savoury. These are the issues that we talk about on this show. It's amazing it lasts so long. 3 hours. Gary says, instead of heated blankets which restrict mobility and less battery powered, check out infrared electric heaters. They heat objects in the room, including people, rather than the air in the room. Yeah, I tried one of those a long while ago, and I don't know whether they've changed since, but it was rubbish. It was like, they're so bright. It was like trying to heat yourself with one of those arc lights at Wembley Stadium. It couldn't be in the same room as it. I mean, I tried it outside, and that didn't work. They don't work. Heated blankets, it puts the heat on you. Trust me when I tell you. It's a life changer. Let's have Saltburn by the Sea. Karen.
Oh, good evening. Just hold on a moment, please. Hold the line so I have a drink of water.
Yes, Karen. It's a live show. Take as long as you want.
Well, I hope you've got a long time.
Are you fully refreshed?
Yes, that's better. I have this lousy sofa, this second-hand lousy sofa, which is doing no good, absolutely no good for my back. It almost got broke a year next month. How about that?
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. I was having a drink of refreshing water. What?
Are you having some water? What kind of water have you got?
Plain.
Plain? And what's in plain? Still from the tap in the studio?
It's from the... well, we haven't got a tap in the studio, although that would be an improvement. If we could have a tap and a urinal in the studio, then we would really be getting somewhere.
Well, you would be getting somewhere, wouldn't you? Come to my place. Come on down. Or should I say, come on round?
No.
You've been for a surprise.
Yeah, I bet I would. I would, Karen.
Back to that African coal lounge, talking about Donald Trump and his ear is almost assassination. What does he know about assassination?
I don't know. Let's get him back on the phone, because I'm not sure which would be worse. Karen, I've got to go because I've got to go. I've got no idea. Paul says, I rang up for yoga lessons today. The receptionist asked how flexible I was. I said I could do Wednesdays. 0345 6060 973. Let's have Northolt. Hello, Joanne.
Hi, Nick.
Joanne.
I was quite surprised when Trump was doing his showpiece the other day, and then he came out saying about how quick Elon was, and then thanked him for his election machine. And,
he said nobody knows more about election counting machines than him.
Yeah, and then I heard you say it on the radio, and I thought, that was how quickly I responded to that as well. I was like, what?
Yeah, no.
It was so shocking.
How come nobody picked up on that? I just don't understand it, because he says the quiet part out loud, because nothing he has ever said or done has come with any consequences. So he apart from every accusation is a confession, he tells you what he's going to do, regardless of how illegal it is, because nothing has ever come with consequences for him. And that's what he said. He said that Elon Musk, you did great work with the election counting machines. Nobody knows more about election counting machines than he does.
Yeah, And then, of course, he's got all those technical people around him. I bet you they was involved in this kind of like conspiracy, like that's going to be brought around to that as well.
What, can you imagine what would have happened if Kamala Harris had won and she had said something like that?
Yeah, complete uproar, wouldn't it?
Oh, I mean,
everyone would have picked up on it straight away.
You would have been able to hear the uproar from space.
Yeah, exactly. I thought, hang on, what? Did he really say that?
Yeah, he did. He actually did say that. And this is the same Elon Musk, by the way, that knew what the election result was going to be, which is one of the closest election results in history. He knew what the result was going to be 4 hours before anybody else. How did he know that?
Exactly. That's what I was thinking, because there were so many sort of things that was like adding up, and it was like, correcting to the right, finishing to like sum to it all. And it was so obvious.
But this is what this is how the left and the right differ. The right would never give in. They would never give up, even if they've patently lost. They would claim that they had won. He's still doing it, Donald Trump. He's still going on about how that last election that he lost was taken from him. The left, on the other hand, the Democrats, they immediately capitulate and say, congratulations, well done, welcome to your home. That's what Joe Biden said as Trump waddled up the steps. Welcome to your new home, or your old home, or whatever the phrase was. And then went to the man's inauguration, which Trump, of course, didn't to Biden, because he was sitting in a corner crying to himself.
I know. I mean, the thing it was I don't know, it was breathtaking all in the same.
Yeah, it was.
You couldn't believe it, could you?
But I just don't understand how nobody else picked up on that. I mean, you said it out loud to hundreds of millions of people. How come me and you are the only people who noticed?
I was like shocked. I thought, hang on, I'll just go wait and sort of see what else happens, through the next few days.
Yeah.
But nothing did.
Nothing did. No, amazing. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Joanne. Keep your eyes peeled, because you never know what might happen next, eh? All right. Thanks. 0345 6060 973. Mark says, I'm warming to Nick Abbott. I used to think he was a bit odd. Now he's becoming my favourite LBC presenter. Becoming? Martin emails, apparently Badnock said letters should be green and not heard. Yes, she did. Yeah, I'll come to that in a while. We're going to be speaking about you, Liz.
That is a disgrace.
LBC. Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Thank you for holding. Your call is important to us.
Your call is important to us. Sophie in Wanstead.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
I am great, mate.
The producer said something to me, and it turns out he's right. They haven't released the files yet. I thought they had, because I read something about the CIA trying to engineer attacks on America because they were going through the Cold War at the time, that would justify any kind of military maneuver against any country that was seen as an enemy.
Are you trying to tell me that they killed JFK in order to give them an excuse to invade another country?
No, I'm saying that the thing I read, the report, suggested that the CIA put forward things they could do. We all know about the exploding pens to kill Fidel Castro. There was something about an exploding seashell, contaminated diving
cigar.
The cigar, the contaminated diving suit because he loved diving. I just think it's bonkers, and it reveals that the nincompoop behaviour might not just be at the president's door, the present incumbent, the agencies surrounding the president. It's insane.
Well,
how did they...
I bet if we knew everything that our government had got up to over the years, then we'd think that they were insane too. I think insanity is baked into the job, isn't it? Protecting your country at any given moment by any means necessary.
Of course. course, absolutely. But I don't think it's just about protecting your country. I think when certain people and organisations have a lot of power, I think they think it's overarching and it overreaches, and maybe it doesn't observe the regularities of maybe, law, due process, things like that.
Yeah, well, when you do things that by any means necessary, then the second order of business is to protect yourself from being upbraided or arrested for using those means.
Absolutely, and actually, speaking of that, Trump, I read today, has sacked some independent bodies or
people who look into fraud in government, in the government's business, basically. Yeah, people who would stop Donald Trump doing what Donald Trump wants to do. They all just got fired.
Absolutely. And before the lighter note, the one thing about JFK, I absolutely do know, and I'm not even a ballistics expert, clearly, I don't think it was one lone assassin. It's impossible. A moving motorcade is just, I don't know, it's mind-bending to think that anyone could think it was one assassin.
Right. Well, it's not impossible, and you were right. You don't know anything about it.
But yesterday, you said something, and I so agree with what you said.
What?
That he released those rioters because they would be his
personal
bodyguards.
his personal army.
Exactly.
No, not bodyguards. His personal army. They will go out and threaten anybody who speaks badly about the dear leader. That's why he released all those people, because I mean, it would be like Mick Jagger getting the Hells Angels to be the security at Altamont, and we know how that ended.
Exactly, and that got me thinking what he could do. Donald Trump, he could start his own band called Donny Don and the Henchmen. So when J.D. Vance inevitably puts his hat into the ring for the presidency, instead of playing the Village People, he could use that music, but with MAGA instead of YMCA, and we could be entertained for another 4 years after.
I can't believe, now you've said that out loud, I can't believe they haven't done that already. That they didn't get the Village People to just switch it, YMCA to MAGA. I mean, it rhymes just the same.
Exactly. I should be his press officer, Nick.
Well, put in your resume. There's a lot of vacant positions over there at the moment, Sophie, and I wish you the best of luck. Thanks for that. I can't believe they haven't done that. MAGA. You want to say it, they will. I bet they do. They'll rewrite that song, new lyrics, and re-release it. And it'll be a #1 smash.
Rock and roll!
With a certain element. And only a certain element. And that certain element will play that song over and over and over again, really loudly. They'll put their speakers in their backyard just to annoy the neighbours. Their woke, liberal, lefty neighbours. It's fun to stay at the MAGA. I can't believe they haven't done that yet. But they will. Thanks a lot, Sophie. Thanks for nothing. 0345 6060 973. Well, should we talk about Liz Truss? Have we got enough time? Yeah, all right then. Senior Tories want former Prime Minister Liz Truss to take a holiday and get out of the public gaze for at least a year. The comments came after Truss became a popular feature for Donald Trump's MAGA supporters and donors on the inauguration party circuit in Washington, D.C. last week. I can't believe that she was popular. I mean, she may have showed up, but popular is another thing entirely. On Monday, just hours after Trump was sworn in, the former she used to be the Prime Minister of this country. Can you believe that?
No.
Can you remember that?
No.
On Monday, just hours after Trump was sworn in, the former Prime Minister, who lasted just 49 days in Downing Street, stood up at one of the official balls celebrating the inauguration and gave an impromptu speech.
Oh, no.
The blunder Truss is said to have repeated the line that Britain needs its own Trump and praised the incoming US president for, quotes, saving Western civilization.
What?
A source from the ball, packed full of right-wing backers of the new administration, said that she, quotes, got a huge ovation for her words. But the interventions are causing alarm in the Conservative Party, with a number concerned that she is becoming an embarrassment. What do they mean, becoming? Kemi Badenoch, out of the Conservative Party, has told shadow ministers she wants a period of silence from Liz Truss. And I can't believe I am about to say this, but I agree with Kemi Badenoch.
What?
Apparently, Kemi Badenoch, the current Conservative leader, is seeking to distance herself from her predecessor and her economic legacy, which would be easier if Badenoch hadn't been the president of the Board of Trade under the catastrophic premiership of the Lizbot.
Absolutely.
Badenoch told the Shadow Cabinet this week that she wished Truss would stop intervening in British politics after the former Prime Minister wrote a cease and desist letter to Keir Starmer demanding he stop saying she crashed the economy. She crashed the economy. Liz Truss crashed the economy. She's written to Keir Starmer a cease and desist letter to have him stop saying that she, Liz the Blunder Truss, crashed the economy. With the Tory leader hoping to draw a line under the party's recent political failures, several sources said she had expressed exasperation about the Liz Truss letter. The person said, Kemi said it would be best if Liz would shut up for a while. Referring to Truss's letter to Starmer, they said, it was absurd. I think she's gone nuts. A second Shadow Cabinet Minister said the thrust of it was Liz should stop making unhelpful interventions, that it would be much more helpful if Liz wasn't as vocal. Hey, Liz, could you stop being as vocal?
Oh, shut up!
Thank you, Donny. Badenoch made her comments during a meeting of the Shadow Cabinet after last Wednesday's session of the Prime Minister's questions. According to several people who attended the meeting, the Tory leader had tried to use PMQs to highlight the government's economic difficulties. But Starmer responded by brandishing the letter sent by Truss's lawyers just days earlier. The Prime Minister told the Commons she was complaining that saying she had crashed the economy was damaging her reputation. It was actually crashing the economy that damaged her reputation. Exactly. Also a bit rich for the Tories to be blaming Labour for the state of the country after they've spent the last 14 years smashing it to bits and selling what they could for scrap. One source close to Kemi Badenoch said there was agreement around the table at the meeting on the need to show Kemi was different to what had come before. And that would be easier for Kemi Badenoch to differentiate herself from what had come before had she not been such a major part of what had come before. I mean, she's been a Tory member of the London Assembly, then Secretary of State for International Trade, then Shadow Secretary of State for Housing, Secretary of State for Communities and Local Government, Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State for Children and Families, Exchequer Secretary to the Treasury, Minister of State for Equalities, that's a funny one, Minister of State for Local Government, Faith and Communities, Secretary of State for International Trade, Minister for Women and Equalities, President of the Board of Trade, Secretary of State for Business and Trade, Leader of the Conservative Party and Leader of the Opposition. But apart from that, nothing about the state of the Tories has anything to do with her. But, you know, by all means, blame Liz Truss.
That is a disgrace.
Senior Tories believe Kemi Badenoch should continue to avoid talking about Liz Truss's economic policy, not least because their party, get ready, their party, the Tories, are now more trusted than Labour on the economy. The most recent poll by YouGov says that 22% of voters said they would most trust the Conservatives to handle the economy. 16% said Labour. 27% said didn't know. Which means at least 22% of the respondents have the memory of a goldfish. Hello? Remember last year? Or any time in the previous decade? I mean, do you remember anything at all?
No.
And Liz Truss's conversion to Trumpian MAGA politics has astonished some observers, particularly on culture war issues. Now posing as a hardliner against trans and LGBT rights and diversity issues, it was pointed out by one former civil servant who worked for her when she was a senior minister in charge of these issues that she used to be described as the Queen of Woke, Liz Truss. When she held the Equalities brief, trans rights reforms took place under her watch. One source said, Liz Truss was originally against Brexit and was for David Cameron. She was the Queen of Woke. And now she's posing in a MAGA hat. Perhaps she's been kicked in the head by a horse. To the untrained eye, it does sometimes look like that. She looks a bit stunned. As though someone's put her on standby. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nica@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on WhatsApp, it's the same number as the phone, 0345 6060 973.
Yeah.
Oh, I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's a problem-solving podcast in which the delightful Carol McGiffin and I try to solve people's problems while guffawing like a seal. Now, if you've got an issue, a problem, something you've always been wondering about, or something you would need some help with, a conundrum, then simply send it to the following address, nickandcarol@global.com, NICKANDCAROL @global.com, and prepare to be totally satisfied.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol? There are over 300 episodes available, and I do believe that you will find it amusing. In fact, I think you'll love it. Ask for it by name on an internet near you. What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol?
Oh, right, yeah.
Nick Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Yeah! Dude! Kitty text, the scariest Trump executive order I saw was the one about the death penalty. He wants more criminals put to death and wants the states to stock up on the drugs to do this.
Want to score some pot?
Also, people crossing the border will now be classed as terrorists. I'm sure these things are not connected, says Kitty. Yeah, the people who think that life is sacred, they also believe in the death penalty. I don't think that you can hold those two opinions genuinely in the same brain at the same time. I mean, pick one. And it's all the same people. All the people that want to prosecute and jail and possibly execute women for having an abortion are also for the death penalty. I mean, it's either life is you believe in the sanctity of life or you don't. Select. But the abortion thing has got nothing to do with the sanctity of life because they don't care about that. I mean, they allow people to buy guns and walk into schools and shoot kids. And every time that happens, which is about once a week, they say, oh, well, there's just absolutely nothing we can do. Nothing we can do. Please continue to buy guns because the gun manufacturers' profits depend on it. So it does really underscore to me that it's not about abortion at all. It's about controlling women's bodies, controlling who they have sex with. But let's not get into that. 0345 6060 973. Cardiff. Hello, Stephen.
Oh, hi there, Nick. Great show. Thanks for having me on. What's that band that you were talking about? Is it I listened to them like the real chilled out band.
Oh yeah.
They walk the earth or something like that. Is it?
Carbon-based life forms.
That thing, that's miles out there. Yeah.
Carbon-based life forms. I think they're a couple of dudes from Norway or Sweden or Iceland or one of those countries.
Yeah, very good. I enjoyed listening to him.
Yeah.
And I thought somewhere on the same sort of line. Have you heard of Marconi Union?
Marco Union.
Marconi Union.
Oh, Marconi Union. No, I have not.
Yeah. They're from Manchester, and I heard a programme with them on a few months ago saying that it's the most relaxing sort of song ever. It's called Weightless, and I've been listening to a bit of their other stuff as well. That's very chilled out, so that might be up your street.
Well, the problem with carbon-based life forms is that there is nothing that is more calm than them. So once the album is finished, you're really stuck. You've got to put another one of their albums on. So I'm interested in branching out a bit, and I will check out Marconi Union.
Cool. Also, there's I went to this thing in Penarth Road in Cardiff. It's called Cult VR. I don't know if they've got one in London, but it was brilliant. It was like you know them cinemas where you feel like you're going on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Thing like. Well, this is sort of like a big, massive dome, and they had Dark Side of the Moon with all these graphics. Sort of the seats go back and it's sort of projected on the seat and the walls, like great sound system in there. It was amazing.
Yowza. And what's it called?
It's called Cult VR.
No, I'd never heard of it. Is it a big theatre, or is it just one of those things that is about the size of a transit van?
No, it's big. Yeah, cavernous. Really cold in there. They give out blankets.
Well, how come you've got one in Cardiff and we haven't got one in London? What's that about?
Oh, I don't know. I guess maybe it's coming soon, or maybe there is one and they've just gone under your radar.
Right. Okay. Well, you're giving me a lot of homework to do, Stephen, and ordinarily I don't like that, but in your case, I will make an exception. Excellent work, that man. Thanks for that.
Cheers, Nick.
Ta-da. 0345 6060 973. Kirsty emails, I'm a nurse and was telling one of my elderly patients on Monday about the soon-to-be televised inauguration of Mr. T. She looked confused and then asked, is it a comedy? I said, actually, yes, but it's not meant to be. And another thing, on your recommendation, I watched Don't Look Up, and it was really boring.
What?
Oh, come off it. I watched Alien this afternoon, and that's much more realistic, says Kirsty. Don't Look Up is not boring. It just isn't. I watched it again the other day, and it is excellent. And it is just where we are. It is precisely where we are. If you want to hold up a mirror to humankind, watch Don't Look Up. Or, if you've had a few refreshments, booze, then I would recommend Idiocracy. Both of those are comedies about a dystopian future and are, in fact, now documentaries about the present. 0345 6060 973. Blimey, is that the time already? Isn't it flying when you're out your mind? Chelsea, hello, Dominic.
Oh, evening, Nick. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, so I've managed to distract myself from all this sort of presidency stuff.
Yes.
And I've been feeling a little bit sad for Mr. Richard Tice, you know, one of Nigel Farage's reform company employees.
One of his employees.
We've got a few idiots in our party.
Yes.
Yeah, well, apparently he's got a bit of a dilemma at the moment. His partner, Miss Isabel Oakeshot's, emigrated to Dubai.
What, patriotically, you mean?
Yeah, and it's weird because I thought, like, Richard Tice had quite strong views about sort of immigrants, like integrating into society.
That's
and
right.
not tolerating multiculturalism and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So since she's going over to Dubai, that's a predominantly Muslim country.
Yes. How is she dressed when she goes walkabouts?
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't taken any photos, but so is she going to convert to Islam then? And is she going to learn Arabic?
Well, she is determined to integrate, so we watch with bated breath.
But I'm just slightly concerned that he's going through a bad time, a bit of a dilemma for him.
Well, I would imagine that Richard Tice will be busy. I can't remember where he's the MP of. I wonder if he can. Where's the MP of?
I wonder what his constituents think about him spending half of his time over in Dubai as well.
They'll find themselves loving whatever he does, regardless. Just as Nigel Farage's Clacton cult fans think that he is doing a fantastic job representing Clacton on the world stage, 3,000 miles away.
Yeah, well, another thing caught my attention this week, which kind of blew my mind actually, which is that the Chinese have developed a competitor for ChatGPT.
Oh yeah,
which is 30%, 36% better than ChatGPT. Apparently, on lots of benchmarks.
I fear a joke is on the way.
No, there's no joke.
No, okay.
The thing that's shocking about it is that ChatGPT, to train it and to build it, the latest version, it costs like $5 billion or something.
Yeah.
And the Chinese, well, they didn't have all the Americans stopped them from having the hardware, the microchips, the GPUs to train their AI on. So they had to work really creatively to do it on lower quality equipment. And they spent, instead of $5 billion, they spent $5 million.
Wow.
Like 1,000th of the cost, and it's better.
And it's better.
Yes, which is just like mind blowing. It's like orders of magnitude stuff.
That is an indication of how fast things are going. If you think that you are at the cutting edge, then by the time you finish that thought, you won't be.
Yeah, and that's what they've published as well. They've published it open source, so who knows what they've got on their machines that's not published. Third thing is a question. I have patronised you.
Excuse me?
That's the right word. I think that's the right word. I bought your book, Perfectly Normal in a Well-Run Country, for about £9.
Yes.
Thinking it might be the 2024, and it was the 2023 one.
Oh, no, you don't want to buy that, because that's much, much smaller and less satisfying.
So when is your 2024 version coming out?
It's been out for about a month now. Well,
I can't find it
3 weeks.
I can't find it on the Rocket Man's bookstore.
Yeah, it's on Kindle. It should be right at the top of the page. It's called What a Way to Run a Country. It's got a big, dirty baby on the front.
Oh, okay. There's no hard copy version of it then?
Yeah, there is. You can buy it in e-book form for eco-woke hippies and in paperback form for people who hate trees.
I like to read these sort of things on the toilet, so,
Oh, that's a little bit too much information there, Dominic.
So, and I don't like having electronic devices in the throne room.
No, that's very, very dangerous. Yes, you don't want to do that.
On a big plus, I did manage, while I was there, I bought the 23 book. I also bought, which is now a prized possession, your 2016, which covers 2 years and only costs £3.30.
Ah, well, that's because it's probably
so I'm well happy about that.
Old.
Yeah, I know, but it covers all the Brexit era and everything. It's like all of your thoughts and opinements, if that's the right word.
Well, I tell you what, the A to Z, I do maintain that it is a worthwhile historical document, the A to Z, because there are no other lists that are as comprehensive as the one that I put together on this show over Christmas, because newspapers and magazines and TV shows, they will all come up with some kind of list, but it's usually just a list of people who died, or at the very most it'll be one thing per month, a couple of things that happened, and that'll be it. There isn't any other list in existence that is so comprehensive as the A to Zs that we put together with the wisdom of the crowd. I mean, we've got thousands and thousands of people all contributing with often very sort of things that just came and went in a day, and you think, oh yeah, I remember that, but you would have forgotten had you been staring at a blank piece of paper trying to come up with a list yourself. So I think I mean, I don't want to be...
No, I think they're brilliant.
I don't want to overstate it, but I think that the A to Z that we all make during the Christmas period is a worthwhile historical document.
Yeah, I think, I mean, you've obviously got a fabulous show, right? I mean, obviously, you're bigging you up a little bit
It's
here.
amazing.
But you've got a fabulous show. These books are actually quite good companion books to the show.
Yeah.
The last question that I've got is, as I was browsing, like, all the books by Nick Abbot, I saw that you had a few magic books, and I was wondering whether I should buy your book on thought transference.
No, because that's nothing to do with me. I've never heard of that.
What? I thought that you... Oh, it's Nick Abbot, but it's Nick Abbot with 2 T's.
No.
Is that not you? No,
No, it's not, no. Nothing to do with me.
You don't do magic books?
I am not magic, Dominic.
No? Okay.
But thanks for that. Appreciate it. All right, ta-da. Yeah, it's the Kindle store, by the way. The last one is called What a Way to Run a Country. It's got a dirty baby on the front. Because for a little part of that year, we were being run by a dirty baby.
Oh, shut up!
Just saying.
Leading Britain's conversation, Nick Abbot. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
And I can't stand him.
Kevin says, I have been in hospital for 1 week, but I'm back home now and I'm getting better slowly. I wish people would stop whinging and whining and moaning. It's not Meghan Markle's fault. She's been ruining our lives forever. Will text, it's a Spanish storm tomorrow. Another storm? I thought it was the same one that we were just getting the tail end of. You know, it was like sort of, it was, it goes in a circle, so we were getting a whiplash of the tail of it. Is that not it? It was another one entirely. It's a Spanish storm tomorrow, but I don't know the name of it, it says. It's probably not named after an elven princess from Middle-earth like the last one. Really? The Spanish-named storm Herminia will bring heavy rain, gales and hail snow up from the southwest tomorrow and on Monday. Snow? Oh, no. It's like blooming winter outside. Let's have Canterbury. Hello, Dan.
Yes, hi there, how are you? Listen, regarding Trump at the moment, if he is, because he's so powerful at the moment, going into the golden age, does that mean he's going to be the 8th founder of the United States? Do you think he's got the power to do that? And do you think he's got the power to take over Hollywood?
Yeah, he's sending people to be... I don't know what that job is supposed to be. He's sending Mel Gibson and... who else is it?
Mel Gibson and the other chap. Oh, God, the older chap. I was going to say old chap.
The guy who was in Midnight Cowboy.
Yes, is one of his MPs now. Sorry, one of his American... Oh, goodness me.
Ambassadors. He's an ambassador, a Hollywood ambassador. I don't know what that means, but I imagine he wants them to go and make Hollywood studios film things that aren't woke.
Yes, and I've actually heard he may change the name from Hollywood Studios to Trump Studios, which I don't believe.
No, I don't believe that. No.
I think that's going too far. But, it's just amazing that, I mean, just concentrate on Trump there, but regarding the actual Conservatives to actually, after everything they've done now, just go to his side, go over there. They've got things to think about here. I mean, Suella Braverman, she was on the show LBC about a week ago, and she was saying we probably won't be joining Reform or going over there. And she's there wearing a MAGA hat. So they're totally correct, the Conservatives, when they say there's nothing wrong with changing your mind. You know, they do it all the time. It's, at the moment, this golden age, if you look into the linkage of the golden age, I mean, how far back does he wants this golden age to go? Because it's so kind of... I mean, what do you think? Do you think there's more? Do you think there's more corruption in the 18th century, in 1800, back in America, than there is today?
Well, if
they do that,
if he can be more corrupt, then believe me, he'll find a way. He'll find a way to do it. If he'll be like one of them truffle pigs, snuffling out corruption and exploiting it wherever he can find it. If you're a billionaire, you'll be doing just fine over the next 4 years or so. In fact, you'll probably never have had it so good. Liz?
We have never had it so good.
She said to a room full of billionaires. But everybody else is in big trouble, huge. Thanks a lot, Dan. Roddy says, porridge is brilliant. Well, I find it a bit bloating. I think I've fallen out of love with porridge. Unless you mean the TV programme, which you probably do, in which case, yes, you're correct. Kensington, Hassan.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
I have been watching the news about Greenland, which is very exciting, because evidently Trump had a conversation with the Danish Prime Minister, and it went terribly. It was horrendous, according to people.
That is the word that was used, horrendous.
Yes, exactly, because I think Trump has been looking at the map, which is a Mercator projection map, which shows that Greenland is bigger than Africa. Because it is close up there. And Trump has been playing a lot of that, that old board game, Risk, where you could attack Europe through Greenland and vice versa. So I think it's a very, very exciting time for all board game buffs, because you could see Trump taking over on territory in the north, in the south.
Yeah.
I mean, he wants the Panama Canal. How can you not give it to him? And then Canada as well. I mean, Canada is obviously the 51st state. So I think it's a very, very exciting time for anybody. But, I'm...
Yeah, let me express my excitement. Yeah.
But I think the thing is that we are fortunate to have David Lammy as our foreign secretary, because he has said he is a black man who recognizes imperialism when he sees it.
Yes.
So I think this is the moment where David Lammy will come to the fore and push back the forces of evil. And I'm just...
If only we had Boris Johnson in charge, because he has never said anything negative about Donald Trump.
I think he's portraying a quite stupefying ignorance.
He said of Donald Trump.
Yeah. No, but Lammy is even more wonderful. He said he's a deluded, dishonest, xenophobic, narcissistic, and a neo-Nazi sympathizing sociopath.
Right, on the nose, exactly.
I think Donald Trump is clearly out of his mind.
If anybody has a tape of Boris Johnson saying that Donald Trump is clearly out of his mind, they should really keep it to themselves.
I think Donald Trump is clearly out of his mind.
If anybody has a tape of Boris Johnson criticising Donald Trump, then for the sake of this country, they should keep it to themselves.
I think Donald Trump is clearly out of his mind.
Just don't play it.
Yeah, so I think it's a wonderful start to 2025 and a new presidential campaign. I think I've got some popcorn and I'm just glued to the TV.
Yeah, well, I would seal up all of your doors and your windows, Hassan, and don't go out for at least the next 4 years. All right. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. He's got some popcorn. Going to enjoy the show. The horror show as it unfolds before us. John says Bonzo Dog Doodah Band was Vivian Stanshall. That's right. His alter ego was Sir Henry at Rawlinson End. Correct. Ted from Ireland texts, Father Ted is Irish, not British. Right. Still haven't watched it. Joanna says, I'm also from Yorkshire and I've heard the saying many times. It's a common saying here. The saying presumably being, if you failed to include it, but it's the stuff you see when you haven't got your gun. Chris says, or Christ, actually. Christ. Really? Christ. Wow. Nice of you to get in touch. Christ says, you must have seen The Young Ones. Absolutely brilliant. Yes, I did. But I saw it at the time. I wonder what it's like watching it now. Probably not as funny. But, we're not as young. Our brains were not as easily tickled. We've been through things since then. Matt says Melania looked like the bloomin' Hamburglar. Yes, she did. She looked like the Hamburglar. Maybe she's taken Donnie's lunch. That's why he wasn't trying to kiss her. He was just trying to lick her lips. The Hamburglar. That's exactly what she looked like. Yeah. Shall I take another call now? It's a bit late into the news. It would be unfair, I think. Just give somebody like a minute. So I'll do some of these texts because they're beginning to rack up. Dan says, are the Trump family all, well, he says sociopaths. I'm not sure that they are rights of way, but I think he means sociopaths. Also, as Trump is taking over America, will he be taking over Hollywood and now be the 8th founding fathers of the United States of America? That sounds very much like that phone call that I just had. I believe that the Hollywood machine has selected a lot of woke films for the Oscars, which is coming right up. Woke is going to be on the stage. No! Yeah. And Donald Trump will be tweeting about how it's a total disgrace. They're getting very low ratings. And, it'll be all... it'll be remakes of Rambo from now on, for at least the next 4 years. That's what we've got to look forward to. Lots of American flags. Dave says, NATO Article 5 states that if America invades a NATO member, then as a member of NATO, America will have to invade itself. Yeah, I think that's what Donald Trump was trying to do with Melania's airspace, trying to invade her airspace. She stole his lunch and he's just trying to get a sniff of it. No way, Donny. No way in. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on WhatsApp, it's the same number as the phone. 0345 6060 973. Bill says, is it safe to come out yet? Asking from a bunker in Cookstown, Northern Ireland. Not yet, Bill. We'll let you know. Trust us. We'll remember you're in there. We'll make a note. You trust us, don't you? Oh, S&C is strength and conditioning. Thanks, Omar, Matt, Lisa, Terry, Bruce, Anonymous, Rachel, Ray, Steve, Mike, another Anonymous, and Paul. S&C, strength and conditioning, not sadism and whatever I was thinking.
On your radio, on Global Player, and...
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global. Leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Hello. So they opened their big mouths and out came talk. Talk.
Harold emails, at least Trump puts his country first, unlike our lot. I wish we had someone of his calibre and patriotism, says Harold, who I do believe is trolling us. He can't possibly think that. Yvonne says, the Chagos people were removed without compensation, so the Donald might do the same... The Chagos Island people were removed without compensation, so Donald might do the same to the Greenland people. After all, we did it, says Yvonne. Yeah, don't do as we did. Do as we say. And JP says he turned his assassination attempt into a photo op. That's how distraught he was. John says, typically busy January gym today. Yeah, everybody after Christmas they think, right, I'm going to go and I'm going to get healthy, and then the gym is absolutely packed for January and deserted by February. He says typically busy January gym today, which meant I had to wait quite a while to use my favourite machine. On the plus side, when I finally got on, it accidentally dispensed 2 Kit Kats. Another listener with material.
Oh, no.
0345 6060 973. Sam Batch. Hello, John.
Hi. Could Trump possibly think that Wallace and Gromit would be at the awards be woke? I would get that one out. I don't know, but the what do you call it? The farmers are at it again this weekend. Yeah.
How many times do we have to say no? No, you cannot complain about paying half the tax that everybody else has to, and get, I think, twice the allowances that everybody else has to, and they're still complaining and complaining and complaining.
Stop whining. And I didn't see Farage on telly and the other fella.
Well, they're probably representing Clacton on the world stage, thousands of miles away.
And I didn't see any farmers singing, I've got a brand new combine harvester. Didn't hear any of that going on either.
No, well, I wouldn't think so. No, it's not 1977 anymore.
So if they bought one, they'd stick it away and not tell anybody because you don't want to pay tax on it.
No, that's right.
Yeah, so it's, Labour have done the right thing. They've taxed people who should have been taxed years ago.
Absolutely, yeah. These farmers, they're not... Oh, I can't be bothered to get into this anymore. It's like over and over and over again, the same blooming story. But they're not going to be taxed. Almost none of them are going to actually have to pay that tax. And if they do, then they're getting a much better deal than anybody else that lives in this country. So just stop whining. God, how entitled can you possibly be to insist that because you provide food, because that is your business, that you are somehow superior to the rest of us? How about nurses? How about teachers, police persons, firemen? All of these people, is what they do nothing?
Yes, what do you call it? The farmers, they weren't moaning when you were in the EU.
Yes.
Just coining it. The EU were paying them out good style. And then they thought, no, we're having it too good, we'll leave the EU.
Right. By a large margin, the farming community voted to leave the European Union, and then, as they had been told it would, that decision came back to bite them, and they've been complaining about it ever since.
And they were promised this amount of money and that amount of money by the Conservative government.
And, shock, horror, reveal, they were lying, weren't they, Bodge?
Yeah. Wait.
Absolutely everything they said was a lie, yeah.
He didn't see any of that money, but all of a sudden when Labour says, oh, you've had it too good, and only a few of you, we're going to tax you inheritance.
Yeah,
you can't do that, you rot.
They throw the calf out with the slurry. Yes. Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, John. 0345 6060 973. And if they're still driving those tractors on red diesel, which is illegal on the public road, then why aren't they in jail now? You know that nice lady with the thin wrists? She's still in jail. God, I can't believe that they've sent her back. Not only have they sent her back to jail, but they're keeping her in jail. You know, she's 78 years old, for crying out loud. I've got that story somewhere. One moment, please. Oh, maybe I haven't. Maybe it was too depressing. I just didn't print it out. But the nice lady with the thin wrists, who was just trying to draw the world's attention to the ruinous path that we're on, not complaining about paying half the tax rate that anybody else does. She was actually trying to do something positive for other people, not herself. She's in jail, still. Spent all of Christmas in jail because the blooming outsourcing agency, it's always the same blooming ones, over and over and over again. They get £100 million contracts thrown at them like confetti and fail to perform again and again and again. It's amazing how the same companies keep getting all this money, our money. But they couldn't find any way to put a tag on her thin wrist, so she's gone to jail. 80-odd-year-olds, 78, something like that. A threat to society. What's happening? Seriously, what is happening? Dave says, do you remember the good old days when sitting in a waiting room we all used to look around the room and stare into space and read whatever rubbish might be on the walls and occasionally made eye contact? God forbid, we've now lost that skill. Take their smartphones off them and they'll become a quivering wreck. Absolutely. 100%. Didn't life used to be better without that stuff? We used to let our minds just wander. Kind of like dreaming, but awake. And you'd stare out the window and you'd just think about things. And you'd order your mind, but there is no ordering of the mind now. because you've constantly got your mind being ordered for you. Nobody thinks anymore. And it's not the same as reading a book. It just isn't. Because you don't get that dopamine hit all the time. Oh, bing, there's another message, I've got that. And then you watch a video that's maybe 5 minutes long, but you can't watch the 5 minutes because you want that another hit. So you watch 20 seconds of it, and then it's the same with music. Nobody listens to an album anymore. People don't even listen to a track. They listen to the first half of it, and they go, oh, what else? How else can I get that hit? It's like we're all addicted to the visual form of cocaine. And it's not by accident, they're doing it deliberately. And the rewards of doing it deliberately, of hooking the entire human race, is billions and billions and billions of dollars. They're the richest people that have ever existed. From giving us something that is essentially a waste of time. I mean, the inventor of the smartphone, that's not the same. I'm talking about social media, the thing that is on the smartphone. You don't pick up the smartphone every 30 seconds, because that's what it is. You look at people in the gym. They cannot put the phone down. That they take it into the gym in the first place is just incredible to me. But they can't put it down. They are physically and mentally incapable of not staring at it. I mean, that is the essence of addiction. And the rewards of capturing the whole human race is that they have become the richest and most powerful people in the world, and their product is utterly useless. It has no value. You would not miss it. If it didn't exist, and it didn't just a couple of decades ago, I mean, how you think, well, what did we used to do? We used to do other things. We used to just do nothing. The joy of doing nothing rather than feeling, oh, God, what am I missing? Turn it off in the off position. Put the phone down and walk away from the screen. 0345 6060 973. Aisling, Richmond.
Hi, Nick.
Aisling.
Hello. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. I just called in because yesterday I know people were wondering the storm name. I know you said it was Irish, but it's not Irish.
No, isn't it Elvish or something like that?
Huh?
Isn't it from Lord of the Rings?
The storm name?
Yeah.
Is it?
Well,
I've never seen Lord of the Rings.
Well, I've seen it, but don't ask me to remember what people's names are because they all sound either Irish or Welsh to me.
Yeah, well, W and Y don't tend to come together in Irish. But the reason I also called was because earlier in the hour you had a caller who was saying how she called in before about mispronouncing H.
Oh, yeah.
I know I said H. And I know I called you about that before, but I realised that I say NHS, but I say H when I'm saying H. I know you don't like it. I'm sorry, but it's weird because I've heard a few people obviously call into LBC that are Irish, and they always say NHS, and that really annoys me. And I didn't realise it until I realised that I say NHS, like it's almost a word as opposed to
Yeah, but the thing with NHS is that it's actually easier to, even if you are the kind of person that says H. Yeah. It's easier to say NHS because it's the N to the A is easier than an N to the H to the A. NHS is harder to say than NHS, which is almost like a shortcut.
I think so. I think that's why when Irish people call in, I'm like, please don't say that. You're making us sound silly.
Yeah, you're making life harder for yourselves.
Like, please stop. Just don't. Yeah, and then also Father's Head, it is Irish, obviously, because it's set on like Craggy Island, but it was, I think, made by Channel 4 originally, so it is. But I would recommend watching it. I mean, it's stupid, but it's quite funny. It's not as stupid as Mrs. Brown's Boys. That's awful.
Yes. Now, I've seen maybe 10 seconds of it and thought, that's a no from me,
No.
and not gone
It's
back
dreadful.
to it. Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't recommend it.
But it's the most popular programme on television, pretty much. I mean, their Christmas special, I think, is one of the highest rated shows of the year.
I think that's just concerning, to be honest.
Yeah, it is. It's alarming. Yeah, I mean, people keep saying this over and over again. They keep saying, who on earth is watching this tripe? And they keep making it because a lot of people are watching it, apparently.
Very sad. It's endearing, though, to look at. I mean, but I can't watch it. It's too painful. But it is very... It's almost one of those things that people feel like they have to watch. But Father Ted is better. Father Ted is... I don't know. I mean, there aren't that many episodes. But it is good. It's again, it's a bit cringy, but it's not like Mrs. Brown's Boys. It's not... I just,
Well, if it's silly, then I think that we're all going to be in want of silly.
Yeah, definitely.
In the next few years, yeah. Just to take our mind off, everything that's not silly.
Yeah, exactly. I think that the BBC makes some good comedies. Have you ever seen Outnumbered?
No.
That's funny. Motherland. I think you'd like Motherland. There's definitely not many episodes. Please do watch Motherland.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, give it a try. It's quite new. It's very much like, it's just a mix of different families living in London, and it's about these mums taking their kids to school, and they're all like different different demographics, but they're also kind of similar, and it's just so true to life. But it's very funny. I often think of you actually when I'm watching it, and I hear certain jokes, and I think Nick would find that funny. Definitely, you should give it a try. I think it's good.
I don't know. Mothers taking their kids to school.
Well, that's a bad description. Give it a try. It's about a lot else as well, but there are only one series, and then there's a Christmas special, I think. But no, it is funny, and you would like it. In fact, I know you would like it. So I made my dad watch it, and he liked it, and he reminds me of you, so you would like it.
All right. Okay, all good advice.
Give it a try.
Thanks a lot, Ashley. Okay.
Thank you, Nick.
Cheers for it. Ta-da.
Bye.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
You're joking.
Christian says, Vegemite is not the same as Marmite. The former is a disgusting pretender. Oh, yes. I'm the disgusting pretender. Ooh. It's not disgusting. Isn't it the same, Vegemite and Marmite? Kind of. It's dark and sticky and unctuous. Assuming that unctuous is a good thing. I can't remember. Get me a dictionary. Let's see now. Bromley. Hello, Will. Will?
Oh, hello, Nick.
Ah, there you are.
I'm here.
Yes, Will.
Right, so I watched that film called Idiocracy on your recommendation, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's so funny.
It is.
And it completely describes the state of the world, America in particular at the moment. It's just an embarrassment, really, isn't it?
Well, it's almost as though America is watching that film and trying to recreate it. I mean, Hulk Hogan ripping his shirt off at one of those Trump white power rallies, that could have been taken directly from Idiocracy.
Yeah, 100%. But I just wanted to comment specifically on Robert Kennedy Jr. Do you know the chap?
Yes.
He's the health secretary.
Yeah.
He wants to ban the polio vaccine in America.
Does he, though?
Well, he's apparently suing the drug companies for the polio vaccine and trying to forbid them from producing it.
I didn't hear that. I think he might have a problem with vaccines that come all in one.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah. He's had a worm eat half his brain, so I wouldn't expect anything to make sense that he says.
No, absolutely. But, on that pillock, I mean, polio, right, it's a very serious problem. 1 in 200 kids that get polio get paralysed.
Yes.
10% of those can't breathe. And in the 1950s, they had the iron lung.
Right.
Do you remember
Yes, I do. I've recently seen pictures of vast rooms of people on in those machines.
Absolutely. It's entirely preventable, highly infectious problem. You know, plenty of elderly walking around that are, half paralysed or people in wheelchairs due to polio, childhood polio.
Right.
And this peddling misinformation about the polio vaccine, which is very effective and actually had eradicated polio in most of the world. And it's just embarrassing. And also,
for some reason, they want to make disease great again.
Well, absolutely. And also, they want to leave the WHO. What a bizarre thing to want to do. I mean, the WHO, they research disease diagnosis and treatment. I mean, why the hell would they want to leave that?
Because probably one of their officials said something nasty about Donald Trump, and that is that's the world that we live in now. Unless you pour flattery all over him and give him money, then he thinks you're nasty, and he will use America as a weapon against you.
I think that's quite right, to be honest. Yeah, baby with a machine gun, right?
A baby with a machine gun. Yeah, that's what we're dealing with, yeah. All right, keep your eyes peeled, Will. And be grateful we don't live there. God, those poor people. I mean, at least I have sympathy with half of the country. The other half are getting what they deserve. It's worse than all of that, though, because this story from the Washington Post, as Biden officials packed up the White House last week and their Trump counterparts prepared to move in, dozens of senior leaders in both administrations met to game out how the new government would respond to an emergency such as a pandemic. For 2 hours, members of President Donald Trump's cabinet hashed out their roles and responsibilities in the events of a crisis, splitting their time between a hypothetical avian flu outbreak and a hypothetical terrorist attack in New Orleans. National security officials in previous administrations have characterized the exercise, which is required as part of the presidential transition, as essential preparation to ensure that a new government is ready for an emergency on day one. But a top figure was notably absent. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Trump's pick to lead the Department of Health and Human Services, the pivotal agency when a pandemic strikes. Most of the attendees said they were mystified by Kennedy's absence and wondered where he was. Well, he was 2 miles away, on Capitol Hill, seeking to sway senators sceptical of his candidacy to serve as the nation's top health official. Kennedy left some of them deeply rattled. One, Patty Murray, a representative from Washington, one of the senators with whom Kennedy met instead of attending the emergency planning session, was so alarmed by her conversation with Kennedy that she immediately released a statement warning about how dangerous it would be to confirm him. She said, "I came out of my meeting with RFK Jr. stunned. I have never left a meeting with a cabinet nominee as disconcerted and troubled by their words in my entire career," she said. If confirmed as Department of Health and Human Services Secretary, Kennedy would take charge of a nearly $2 trillion agency that approves vaccines and medications and manages the nation's emergency stockpile of medical countermeasures and helps coordinate disaster response. Officials are also closely monitoring potential threats such as avian flu and other circulating viruses. And if one of those blossomed into a pandemic, it would fall to J.F. Kennedy Jr., who has never held a senior government role or steered an emergency response, to oversee key decisions or make them himself. I mean, can you imagine that? Somebody totally unsuited to the task, making life and death decisions based on their towering ignorance. Does that remind you of anyone at all?
I can't comment on that.
And newsflash, by the way, there is an avian flu outbreak in America. And it's already led to the killing of millions of birds, hens, ducks, geese, and so on, and it's jumped species to infect cows. So it's in the raw milk that J.F. Kennedy Jr. promotes as healthy. And the avian flu has already jumped to humans.
Oh, no.
And the United States has reported cases of H5N1 avian influenza in humans in 10 states, 67 cases, 1 death so far. But don't worry. because the Trump administration has banned all news of the outbreak and forbidden the government organisation that would combat a pandemic, the Centre for Disease Control. They've forbidden them to release any information about anything to anyone, including hospitals who would have to deal with it. But don't worry, because President Trump has said that everything is under control. There's a lot of water between them and us. I say, never mind about a third runway at Heathrow. Let's close the ones that we already have, just in case. 0345 6060 973. Carnforth, hey, Penny.
Nick, you all right?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Good. Yes, very alarming, because, I mean, Kennedy doesn't... He's a full-on anti-vaxxer, isn't he?
Yes.
And, he probably wants to leave the WHO. In fact, I think they have left it, or are in the process of leaving it, aren't they? It's
I think
not just
they
want to.
No,
they are.
They've done it, yeah.
Yeah, and that's probably because the WHO obviously oversees all these things to do with pandemics and vaccines and all the rest of it.
I think they also probably corrected Donald Trump when he said, it might be a good idea to shine a light into the body during COVID, or maybe you should drink bleach. I think probably somebody from the WHO said that's probably not a good idea, and Trump has been harbouring a grudge ever since.
Yeah, he does harbour grudges of anybody that criticises him in any way.
Yeah, like a whiny baby.
Yeah, oh God, it's just so scary what's going on there. And I rang up actually about, because somebody said at the beginning of your programme about one of the states in America are going to bring in the death penalty for women who are even trying to search out abortions. Was that right? Did I hear that right?
You may have heard it right, but I'm not sure it is right. But they are certainly on that road if they haven't already arrived at that destination.
Well, your glamorous assistant said it was South Carolina, so there must be some kind of truth possibly to it. But yes, I mean, definitely. I mean, it's so Handmaid's Tale. It's scary, isn't it? I don't know how to describe them really. Christian fascist, because it's about it's about as true to Christianity as ISIS is to Islam.
Right. Yeah,
I mean, it's just
right. It has nothing to do with it. They call it Christian nationalism, and it's just a cover for white power neo-Nazism.
Yes, definitely, and also patriarchal misogyny, really.
Well, that seems to me what the abortion thing is all about. Because if you also think that people deserve the death penalty, then you're not about the sanctity of life. And so what is the abortion thing about? And it's about controlling who women have sex with.
Exactly. And it's not just that either. They're talking about controlling contraception. And I'm just very glad I'm not a woman living in America. But it's so much crazy stuff going on all the time. It's kind of overwhelming, but this is very worrying about the bird flu thing.
Yeah.
It was on the news tonight that 3 counties in Britain have closed things down to do with birds. You've got to keep your birds inside again and all this. So there's some kind of bird flu-y thing going on here as well. I don't know if it's the same bird flu.
I believe it is, yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, well, here comes the next pandemic.
Exactly. Well, it's going to come pretty soon. And, I mean, because Anthony Fauci, who is, another one of those people that corrected Donald Trump, and you can't do that because Donald Trump knows more about anything than anyone. And he's just had his security detail removed from by Donald Trump, despite the fact that he gets death threats all the time from Donald Trump's cult fans who think that the COVID vaccine was invented by Bill Gates so that he could put a microchip in your brain to control your thoughts. I mean, this is what we're dealing with here. I mean, I'll let Donald Trump sum it up himself.
I love the poorly educated.
The poorly educated. Those are the people that voted for Donald Trump, and in large part they voted for his corresponding candidates in this country. It's the poorly educated. They keep giving and giving.
And also, because you were talking about social media earlier as well, before we had social media or the internet generally, this kind of thing would not have just, it's just round the world in 2 seconds flat.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
All these conspiracy theories.
Yep.
it's not like it used to be. I mean, it used to be quite difficult to get your conspiracy theories out there, but definitely not these days.
Everything used to be better before social media. Everything. I'm not saying before the invention of the smartphone, because that is certainly a useful device. But if you could just take social media back and make it such that it never existed, everything would be better. Here, Annie, I've got to go because I'm way past the news, but thanks for that.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Are you trying to tell me that this is your act?
Yes. Char texts, I was just thinking about a clip I recently saw of Elon talking rubbish with a haircut that looks like he's just escaped a secure unit, and I was wondering, do you think he smells of musk? I think he probably smells of rusk. He looks like he should only be served soft food. Andy says, introducing my Russian girlfriend to your programme, Nick. She got away from Putin, rootin' tootin', as did her son, nearly 3 years ago. They are not fighting their Ukrainian cousins. The Russian police have already rang her twice to come back. Like Arnie, she is never going back. No, Arnie did go back. I'll be back. So unlike Arnie, she's never going back. That makes more sense.
Yes.
And this anonymous text says, I live in constant fear that Trump may deport my Latino mother-in-law. She lives at... Okay, good one. I live in... just in case this is an actual address, I'll just change it a bit. This text says, I live in constant fear that Trump may deport my Latino mother-in-law. She lives at Las Vegas Boulevard, Red Door, usually gets home about 6 o'clock every day. There you are, you see, laughter in the face of adversity. Cambridge, hello, John.
Oh, my word. Hello, Nick.
Yes, John.
Do I sound clear?
Yeah, very clear, as a bell.
Do I sound as clear as a, person from New Zealand or, Japan?
Yes, you do.
Really?
Are you in New Zealand or Japan?
No, I'm not. I'm in Cambridge. You said
Cambridge,
that, but listen,
right.
Yes. I bought my landline because I heard people calling you from Japan and New Zealand, sounding super clear. And, I ordered a landline and I called you up a little while ago, but I forgot to actually use my landline, and I called you on my mobile. I'm calling you from my landline, and am I genuinely sounding clearer?
It sounds like you're in the room. In fact, it sounds like you're occupying a space in my head. It's a little disconcerting.
Okay.
What does the landline look like?
Well,
the phone. Actually, I mean, not the line. I mean, that's just a wire. But what's the phone look like?
Is that kind of a bit lame? I bought don't laugh at me, Nick. I'm really young, right? But I bought a retro phone to make it look like it's from the 90s or something.
Does it have a rotary dial?
It has, yes.
Brilliant.
Sorry. Anyway,
no,
Nick,
that is brilliant. Is it a trim phone?
A what?
A trim phone. Is it sort of square, and it sits on a cradle that when the handset is off, you can use the cradle as a handle? No.
When the handset is off?
Yeah, but the thing that you're talking to me on, that's the handset.
Yes,
and then there's the main body of the phone. When you put the phone down, does it go onto a...
cradle?
A cradle?
Yes.
And you can use the cradle as a handle?
I don't know what you mean, cradle handle.
Okay. You know what? The important thing is that it doesn't matter.
Okay, look, but Nick, don't cut me off, literally, because I've got more important things to talk about.
Right, well, you've gone to all this effort, buying a phone and all. Carry on.
All right, number one, my name is not... What did you call me, actually?
Just what's on the screen. And now I'm getting concerned. John, your name is John, and you are calling from Cambridge for the purpose of this call.
Yeah, my name's not John.
That doesn't matter either.
Okay, I go to St John's College at Cambridge, but my name was actually not John. Can you hear that? That's my mobile, isn't it?
I tell you what, John, is there a point that we are rushing very slowly towards?
Okay, yeah, no, sorry. No, basically, I spoke to you I think July last year, just before the election.
Right.
And I said to you that there is one, I mean, obviously, I don't much like the Conservatives, at all, I hate them. But one thing positive has changed during the 14 years which they kind of destroyed the country, which is the passport system. Because I said to you that I basically was going to Poland to see my my ex, and he was actually, no, that bit's not important. But the point is,
oh my
I
God,
applied for
there
my
is a point.
passport.
Any moment now, it'll be hoving into view. There it is on the horizon. Yes, John.
I've already seen you now. Okay. Basically, I sent in my passport and I got it back in 48 hours.
Yes.
And
yes,
I genuinely cannot remember why I told you now.
Okay. Well, at least it was a giant waste of time. Brasa text. So it seems like the January the 6th hostages are in... the January the 6th hostages are, in fact, the brown shirts of Mango Mussolini. Yes. Right. I was confused there for a moment. I didn't know where we were going. But the January the 6th hostages are, in fact, the brown shirts of Mango Mussolini. Yeah, it's his own private army to threaten anybody that disrespects the Tangerine Tornado. That's why he released them. This says, I live in constant fear that Trump... No, I read that. That was quite funny. Bridgehead texts, when will the A to Z be back in print? It's in print. You just order one and they print one for you. There's not a stock of them. It's on demand. My latest book on the Kindle store. It's called What a Way to Run a Country. It's got a dirty baby on the front. Not the dirty baby in the White House.
Don't be rude.
Another dirty baby. An actual baby. Chris says, what do you think of this planetary alignment? I think it's rubbish, says Chris. Are our planets aligned? Doesn't that happen a lot? I've got an app on my phone that shows me where the planets are in the sky. It's celestial, baby. And every now and again it does look as though they're suspiciously close to each other. Somebody should look at that very strongly. Manchester. Hello, Raj.
Hi there, Nick. How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Good. Just a couple of first things, just admin sort of things, and just get them out of the way first. One, if somebody says, don't cut me off, Nick, I think you should probably cut them off.
Cut them off straight away. Yeah. Yes, exactly right. Yeah.
And number two, Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's actually not from Russia, he's from Austria. So he's not going to go back to Russia anyway, is he?
Who? Oh, Arnie. Yeah, no. Yeah, well, that was...
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I do know what context he was in, but I thought it was at the time. But it doesn't sound like it's absolutely the end.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say, the main point of me ringing was, I can't believe that Biden has to issue all these pardons. He's pardoned all these people, like Fauci that you just mentioned, Anthony Fauci, even though he's not even done anything, he's not even got done for anything yet, because he knows that Trump is going to lock him up for something. He's going to do him for something, isn't he?
Yeah, because he...
yeah,
I know, it's incredible. I mean, but under no other circumstances would Biden have had to do that. I mean, if it had been a grown-up, a reasonable person that had taken over, then he wouldn't have had to do that. But having blanket pardons for people that Donald Trump is going to go after because they disagreed with his opinion about medicine, because, nobody knows more about medicine than Donald
Absolutely.
Trump. Then these are weird times that we're living in right now. I mean, it does seem like that this is it's as bad as it was the first time. It's as stupid. He keeps coming out with these ridiculous things, but it's much worse because there's this sort of History Channel vibe about it this time around. It's not just stupid, it's evil.
But Nick, you know, this Robert Kennedy Jr., whatever his name is, I mean, surely they must have to do some sort of medical test on him before they can give him these big posts on there, because he's never passed. He's crazy.
It does appear to have issues, yes.
But they must have to go through a medical or something, mustn't they?
I think the only qualification that is required, two qualifications, it seems to me, from the list of Trump's picks so far. One, they must have been subject to allegations of sexual abuse.
Oh, of course.
And two, they must obey the dear leader.
Of course. I just don't get it, though, because he's probably the last person you would want as in that position, wouldn't you?
Ever,
it makes no sense whatsoever.
I can't think of anyone that would be worse.
Well, that's what I think. No, I can't think of anyone. I just don't get it.
No, it's blowing my mind. Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
The only thing I also...
Go on. This is why This is why I'm saying, and people should pay attention to this and try it. We're going to be subsumed. There will be a tsunami of this. This is just like the fifth day, isn't it? 7th, 5th, 6th. It's the first week. And already it's insane. It's insane and it's comical and it's laughable and it's frightening and it's terrifying. All of those things at the same time. And we're only in the first week. So it's going to be like this for at least 4 years. And he ain't going nowhere. So it's going to be probably at least 8, minimum, until he dies and he hands it down to his son, Lurch. He'll skip the idiot sons and go straight to Lurch because he has that look of malevolence about him. So it's going to become too much. So just tune out. We're 3,000 miles away, although every single little thing that he does is going to affect us in some way. At least we're not living in America. We're here, where it's relatively sane. So just take comfort from that. And just tune it out. Go walk in nature. Nature doesn't know any of this is going on. Nature is about to explode with loveliness. Spring is just around the corner. There'll be birds in the trees and flowers on the ground, and the trees will come into leaf, and there'll be warmth on the air. And it'll be marvellous. And there's absolutely nothing Donald Trump can do about that, apart from drop the big one. You know, apart from that...
You know, I did 3 of them today. I did a little one, a little tiny one, and then I did a really big one. I did a big one, and I'm still raring to go.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Come on, we're running late.
Rob says, can we buy your book without paying for some oligarchs' next space rocket, please? No, unfortunately not, no. I mean, I don't know any other way of making it available, Rob. Sorry about that. This text says, during the Cold War, America built nuclear silos in Greenland but never armed them. Also, I thought Canada was part of the British Commonwealth. And Calvin says, with all the madness, will I go to Malta or Cyprus in the summer? I don't know. Anywhere but here, Calvin. Anywhere but here. Leeds. Teresa.
Hello, Nick.
Teresa.
Nick. I've been waiting ages to get through here.
Yes.
Yes, and I've been... Anyway, a few... Well... 10 minutes ago, I know you're closing soon.
Yeah.
About 10 minutes ago, somebody were. It's about Mrs. Brown's boys.
Oh yeah.
Can we go back to that lady who rang you up?
Mm-hmm.
And you were agreeing with her about something. He'd made some awful. Well, I've not seen. I like Brendan O'Carroll, and I like Mrs. Brown's boys. What was it? Because I've been looking on here while you know, while you were talking, and I couldn't find actually what it was
Find what?
Offensive.
Find what? What was?
What was offensive about what he said? But all I can say is this: it's made some racial implication while they were rehearsing, not while they were on air.
No, I think you missed the point entirely there, Teresa.
What happened?
Nothing happened. We were just discussing that it wasn't funny.
Well, that particular... I don't know what it was that wasn't funny.
Mrs. Brown's Boys.
Well, what, all the series, everything?
Yes, all of it.
Well, I do think it's funny. And I do...
Well, that makes...
I'm not just saying me, but...
Yeah, that makes you...
Why?
That makes you wrong, then.
Well...
No, you're looking for a news story. There is none. We were just talking about whether this or that programme was funny, and we had concluded correctly, in my opinion, that Mrs. Brown's Boys isn't.
It might not be. It might not be up to. It's not up to date. It's not in today's genre of humour.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
But of the generation that Brendan O'Carroll belongs to, I'm not. And I tell you what, I didn't think you were 64. I was really shocked. I've just checked you out, and you are 64, aren't you? I thought you were 10 years younger.
Like when I'm 64. Yes.
But you are.
I've made it.
Rock and roll.
Yeah. Will you still love me, Teresa? Will you still need me when I'm 64? Because I'm there already.
I think our programme's great, Nick, honestly. But I just don't... I think it's okay, this Mrs. Brown's...
Well, now, wait a minute. Now, that's backing down. First it was funny, and now... Hang on a minute. By your own admission, now it's okay.
No, it is okay.
Okay is not funny. Okay is like, meh.
Who says it's not funny?
You did. You just said it was okay.
I didn't say... Oh, no.
Right, wind back the tape.
Okay.
We've got evidence, Teresa.
What evidence? You have not. You and that lady who was ringing up. You agreed.
You just said it was
something.
okay.
I don't know what it was.
Okay is just barely bearable. That's what okay is.
It's not. It's funny. And it's humorous. It does. It makes me laugh, and I like it. And I hope to do a few more series.
Oh, please!
Look, we're
more?
still around. That generation, it's not. It's not stuff that belongs in the past. It's comical.
Well,
and it's typical.
Well,
it's typical.
I'll agree with you on that. It is comical, as in.
Yeah, but it's not offensive.
No, I didn't say that it was offensive. I don't care about offensive.
Well,
Is
what
it?
was that conversation about with that lady then? That
Is
you
it
thought
funny
so
or not?
serious about?
Well, I'll tell you what, Teresa. There is a way of listening to this show after it has happened, and it's called the Nick Abbot The Whole Show podcast, and you can relive that experience in stereo.
I wanted to know what it was. I just wanted to know what it was.
Yeah.
I didn't know what had happened. I thought
Right.
something
Well,
really serious had happened.
there's
when
nothing
people
happened.
said,
No.
Oh,
Don't worry about it. You need to stand down, Teresa. Unarm yourself. There is nothing to be concerned about. Nothing has happened other than we have come to the conclusion that it's not funny.
It is funny. it's just you that doesn't have...
Yeah.
No,
maybe I've lost my mind.
Yeah, but I didn't know what it was about because I've not been here at Christmas, and I didn't know. I didn't see what.
Right.
It wasn't actually on the TV, was it? It was just during rehearsals when they were all sat round.
Right. Well, I don't know nothing about that. That's not what we were talking about at all.
Right.
So, where did you go for Christmas?
In the room where dreams arise, dandelions kiss the skies. In poems and tales they fly free, the symbols of boundless liberty. The dandelions whisper in the breeze, a journey beyond with effortless ease.
It's a secret. You were on the run.
I know. I just realised I'm on radio. I don't want to. I just wasn't watching the TV. That's all.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, I just wondered what it was all about.
Yeah. No. Don't worry about a thing, Teresa. You may start to calm down now. All right. Cheers, my dear. A concerned citizen. The Reverend Martin texts, is Jan in York a decaffeinated Jan from Tooting? Ali says, so now Denmark's on the terrorist list. Matt says, at the risk of sounding nerdy, your texter was wrong a moment ago. The storm was not named after an elf from Middle-earth because Eowyn is human. Your other texter is thinking of Arwen, the elf played by Liv Tyler. Arwen, I remember. Eowyn, I don't. Tavistock, hello, Rose.
Oh, hello, Nick. It was just an impulse, you know, when you were talking about forgetting about Trump and going out to nature sort of thing.
Just do it.
And it was the way you said it, and I suddenly thought, I think we've got a cross line here.
Is that what you thought?
No. I suddenly thought about my experience, an experience I had, you know, during the pandemic in 2020.
Yeah.
And I was living in my previous place then, so I was extremely lucky because I had 2 or 3 fields around and there was only me there. So I wasn't sort of shut in, you know. But nonetheless, I was very, very, very frightened. And like the rest of us were. But anyway, after a while, I got on my little motorbike and I whizzed up to Dartmoor, which is not terribly far away, and walked up to the tour, a particular tour. And I'd really forgotten everything except the pandemic. And it was the end of May. And as I got over the other side of the tour, which is, as you probably know, these huge, bloody great big rocks, all piled in strange formations.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I got to the other side, so I'm standing up pretty high now. Imagine there's fantastic views all around. And not very far away, suddenly came this sound, a cuckoo. So it was loud, and it went cuckoo, and it went, yes, exactly. And I'd completely forgotten about the cuckoo. This was an extraordinary thing because every year I'm, which bird's going to come now? And, we'll be able to hear the cuckoo soon, which is usually towards the end of April. And I just burst into floods of tears because there it was, cuckooing away. I couldn't actually see it, but it wasn't far away. And it kept on and on. And it was just extraordinary because I thought things actually of the world are still working.
Still the same, yeah. Nature is still ticking over. It's proceeding regardless of what silliness we obsess about, and it's still all out there. All you got to do is go and see it. Nice note to end on, Rose. Thanks for that. 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 To end on, Rose. Thanks for that.